Tuttle here for Ferguson Roof Systems. For 43 years, Ferguson Roof Systems has been protecting Oklahoma's homes and businesses with quality roofing services. Their goal was to be the most honest and dependable roofing company in the state, all while providing free services such as lifetime labor warranty and annual inspections. Well, mission accomplished with thousands of client testimonials, an A+ Better Business Bureau rating, and a 5-star rating on Google. Look, the weather gives you enough to worry about, so why worry about who to trust with your roof? Call Ferguson Roof Systems today or find out more at fergusonroofsystems.com.
Happy Tuesday evening to you. Come to the right place. I'm meteorologist Aaron Tuttle coming at you with the AT's weather tonight. We're going to update you on the week's forecast. We'll see if there's been any changes in the model data as we head on into the upcoming weekend to see if there's still some ice in our future. So thanks for joining me tonight on Rumble, on YouTube, and on Facebook. Ron, thank you for the stars. Let's see, as usually is the case, I will post the link to where you can join the Facebook broadcast channel. Thank you, Jamie, for the stars. That way I can send you a message through your Facebook Messenger that I'm going live so you don't miss the show. Because as you know, you don't always get notified. Julia, thank you for the stars. Appreciate you, man. Let's see, here on Rumble at some point soon, I think we're going to get the chat going where you guys can be a little more interactive. So we'll work on that. There's just there's so many outlets to monitor at once. It's crazy. But anyway, so guys on YouTube, thanks for checking in. Jim, I see you from Mustang. Mean Oki's in the house. Yeah, it is a loud intro. Did it wake you up? So every now and then I got to change up the music, and I'll tell you why. You ready? A little inside tip on this one. So, by the way, thank you, Mary, for the stars. So it takes me a while to pick the music that I like. Because I want to get something upbeat and moving, right? The problem is that I use royalty-free music to do that, so that the videos don't get striked for copyright violations. Well, that works fine for like a while, and then all of a sudden, for whatever reason, that song then becomes no longer royalty-free, and then now there's a copyright claim by some outfit that wants, third-party outfit that just wants to take it. So it's annoying, so I have to change the music every now and then. Pick another royalty-free music selection. So I'm sure this one will work for a while, and then I'll probably change. I picked a couple of different ones just in case this one got a strike on it. So that's kind of how that works for the music. But I like it because it gets me moving, and it probably gets you moving. But you probably want to go to bed. So that's probably not what you want to have. You probably want a lullaby putting you to half asleep when I give you the forecast. But anyway, thanks for checking in though. Regardless, again, here's that link on Facebook if you guys are late. Or watching the replay, you can always click on this, join the Facebook broadcast channel. It may kick you out, or it may not kick you out. It may say channel not available, or this page not available, or something like that. Every now and then it does that. I don't know why. Facebook obviously hasn't worked out its own kinks on something new. Shocker. So anyway, but keep trying it, and you should be able to get in. All right, so let's move on with the forecast at hand. Out there currently, it's still cold. 18 degrees is what I've got in my backyard. On my Tempest weather station. It looks just like that picture you see there to my right, or my left shoulder, your right view. It's confusing. You can use a promo code AT's Weather to save a few bucks, and there's a QR code there as well. All right, so today was a big day for everybody, and for me specifically, and I'll tell you why that is here in a minute. Currently, or I should say not currently, but the minimum temperatures this morning were very, very cold. We were at probably the coldest morning just about here in northeast Oklahoma, -12 and -15 degrees actual air temperatures. That's brutal. Now, in Miami, they had the record of the state of -31 about 10 or so years ago. So northeast Oklahoma likes to get cold during these winter outbreaks. Now, if you do look at the maximum temperature today, this was the good news I was talking about. We already have temperatures warming at the freezing point or above just by a hair into the Panhandle region. We warmed into the low 20s here in the Oklahoma City metro area, still into the teens north and east. But why is this important? Because this is the temperature at which the ice in my pipes thawed. So we had lost our water. Thank you, 70, for the stars. And let's see who else. We got Ashley, thank you. Oh, my friend from high school. So here's the deal. Saturday night, Yeah, we dripped our faucets like everybody does. We had the cabinets open. We wake up the next morning, Sunday, and there's no water. I'm like, uh-oh. We check all the faucets. No water anywhere. I'm like, well, that's not right. It would have just been just like one section frozen. So it's got to come in from the main line. So I go check the closet for the main line, and it's not warm, but it's not cold either. It's like room temperature for the air conditioner. And I flip the incoming switch, and there's no pressure or anything. I'm like, I wonder if we're not getting pressure into the house from the line to the street. Now, ground temperatures are still in the mid-30s. I'm going, well, it can't freeze in the ground because it's 34 degrees. That's not make sense. When I go and look at the meter box that's on the curb, it's filled with water. So there's a leak in it, for one. And I thought, well, maybe that's causing it, and there's something else going on. I'm not getting water into the house. So then I just kind of waited. Jody got more irritated. She's like, call the city. I'm like, they're not going to come out here because my pipes are frozen. There's nothing to do about it. So let's just give us some time and see what happens. So we're doing the buckets of water deal, and then so that was becoming fun. And then we'd shower at the gym because we work out every day anyways. And then so I said, well, I'm gonna climb up in the attic, see what I can find. Well, the main line is buried. It's not on the bottom of the attic floor, like where your insulation is. It's between that and the ceiling, and a little space probably for the framing. So you can't get access to the copper pipe at all. So I was going to check it to see where I could feel if it was frozen or not. And so I couldn't even access it. So I crawled up there for nothing. And everything else looked fine. I didn't see any other issues. And it was warm up there today, considering. So anyway, I don't know, was it about 2 o'clock this afternoon or whatever? And then all of a sudden we heard like this little popping noise for about 20 seconds above the guest bedroom. And it was just like pop, 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 pop. I was like, oh boy. That's the ice breaking up. I said, I hope it doesn't bust. But we had all the faucets still open. Every single faucet in the house, shower, everything. And all of a sudden, we started hearing drips of water come in. I was like, yes, come on, baby, come on. And then sure enough, after a few more minutes, a little bit more drips, more faucets got water, and then boom, it all released. So, woo, we got water again. So that was a good day in the household of the Tuttles. And that's because we hit these temperatures in the low to mid-20s here in central Oklahoma, which obviously was warm enough to heat up that attic probably just a little bit more to get the framing area just a little bit warmer. I don't know. Whatever that combination was, I'm here for it. So I'm glad it happened. But that was my little situation. So that's why today was a good day for me. I always thought we were going to have to wait till Wednesday before that happened. And some of you probably are still going to have to wait, depending on your situation. Well, tonight we do have a south wind that has returned. Very light here in eastern Oklahoma, only about 5 knots. It's about 10 knots, maybe 15 out here in the west, and winds will be picking up. Now, there's still some snow on the ground, obviously, which you've probably seen in your neighborhood and backyards, but the more substantial, measurable snow is in this little pink area across this section of the state. Let's see, can I put on some, let me do this real quick. I didn't put this on there earlier, but we'll go ahead and do this. It might help you out a little bit. I wish this little map had some better notations on here, but the color's off anyway. So you want me to see the highlights of the towns anyway. But the point being is this Tulsa County right here is Oklahoma County, so Oklahoma City. So most of the good heavier snow is up in this area, as you can see, from northwest Arkansas into Missouri and northeastern Oklahoma. So that is where the heaviest snow had fallen, and that really highlights well in the satellite viewpoint. The heavier, deeper snow comes in little darker blue colors. So why is that important? Well, because when you look at the dew point values in this area, they are also down into the negative numbers. Even got some negative numbers here as well. But when you factor in the clear skies, remember the light winds over here, the lower dew point values in that snow, you get temperatures to cradle. So they're down here almost near 0 degrees already in the eastern third of the state, even northeast Oklahoma where that snow line was. So pretty cool stuff. So that can add to some colder temperatures at night. All right, well that's enough of the short term, what's going out there currently. Let's take a look at the future, shall we? So the jet stream pattern, we'll take a look at this. We'll see what's changed. Here's your old polar vortex spinning around right here. It's putting the jet stream pattern in the northwest flow aloft. That's going to drive our next cold front down. A little energy will zip through the central part of the country, not really affect us. And then we've got this new trough axis developing out to the west. So that still looks like that's going to happen. And this is a snapshot in time for Monday. So this is going to be a pretty significant precipitation maker that's zipping through Texas, Oklahoma, and the rest of this area of the southern plains. All right, so we still have our rainmaker. So now let's see what else we have to work with it. Well, temperatures at the surface, even up here into this part of the country, still at or below 0 in some cases. Otherwise, they are moderating a bit. So in other words, our temperatures here aren't that much different, say in western Kansas or up here on the eastern slopes of the Rockies. but that's about to change as the next wave of cold air comes in. The next thing we want to take a look at is snowfall cover. Now, most of this blue area, from basically little spots here, but most of this area right here, this is all snow cover. So this part of the country is covered in snow still in the ground. Now, that's good news for Arctic air masses. One, it helps to reduce a little bit of the friction. Two, it also helps to keep that Arctic air mass from moderating on its way down. These are all key important factors to see how cold it's going to be when it arrives and if it's going to moderate quickly when it does arrive. All right, so let's take a look at the dew point values, because when we do that, we can see the surge in the brown and kind of a lightish orange color zip through the Rockies again, and then back down here in Oklahoma as we head toward Friday and Saturday. So you can see how these dew point values do all the way down into Texas into the single digits. The really brutal part of the cold, though, with the lowest, driest air, is out still across the central plains. So we still get a pretty good blow, but it's nothing like what we experienced here this last go around. So it's still going to be a good, strong Arctic front. It just won't be as strong, and that's why it's causing a little questionability of what the forecast is going to do when we're dealing with moderating Arctic air masses. Well, let's take a look at the winds. Like I said, picking up out in western Oklahoma already. It's what the little blue areas indicate. That's 14, 15 knots here during the overnight to early morning hours. And the winds really get cranking in the afternoon. This is sustained winds up around 23 knots. If you're going, well, I don't deal in knots, I deal in miles per hour. Fine, 25 to 30. But you're going to have gusts higher than that at times. So let's go to, let's see, there's Wednesday evening. Still windy here across central Oklahoma. Now we do have a weak cold front that'll be coming in thanks to a little weak disturbance aloft. Not enough to make it rain, but there's a little surface low with it. And if you watch little wind barbs, you can probably pick out kind of where the front is kind of coming on in. So it's kind of like a little baby front. Now what this is really going to do is bring in that old air mass, the modified stuff across Kansas that we saw here tonight. So it just kind of reinforces the slightly cooler air. So it's not going to be anything drastic on the onset. Now, once this thing moves by, the weather pattern will change a little bit more, and it'll allow that Arctic air to come in for Thursday night. So here's that look at Thursday, and you can see we already have a little weak north wind here, but it's nothing compared to the wind shifts going to be behind this front, as from Thursday evening at 7 o'clock, moving through northwest Oklahoma, and then moving through the metro here during the rest of the evening hours, and probably by the end of the state by midnight. And these will be wind gusts, once again, up around 30 miles per hour or so. So we have a very strong cold front, and you might be able to squeeze out some flurries, a little bit of snow flurries with that Thursday night, Friday morning, as usual. Here's when you have an Arctic air mass come in and replaces an old one. So here's a look at the wind. Like I said, gusting up to around 30, 35, maybe even 40 miles per hour for Wednesday afternoon, and even still windy. Look at that Wednesday evening. So gusts up to 40 maybe overnight while you're sleeping. And then the miles really get carried away. For Wednesday in the evening hours, they've got us wind gusting up to around 50 miles per hour. So this is not even storm related. It's just because of the pattern change. And then as we head into Thursday morning, again, a little bit of wind, but dies off. And then we wait for the big front to come in. And there's that wind get cranking in around 40 miles per hour. So we have basically pockets over the next couple of days of groups of hours where you just get some winds that are just ridiculous. So batten down the hatches out there, because we're going to have some trash cans blowing around through Friday as the weather pattern continues to change. And I did mention that little, I did mention that little deal about the snow. Let me just show that to you real quick, what that looks like. I did this the last time we had that air mass move through for that Saturday, and we thought, I wouldn't be surprised to see a bit of snowfall activity. So same kind of idea. So this is where the moisture pools ahead of that front. This is midnight Thursday here in Oklahoma City, for example, and there's a little bit of lift in the snow growth layer. So that's why I'm saying you may squeeze out definitely some cloud cover and some, might be a few flurries with it, but it won't do anything. It's not like anything that's going to amount to anything measurable. And then we'll look at on this map here, we'll look at that in detail for the Sunday time period to see what's coming our way there. But before we get to that, temperatures for the rest of tonight are going to be, of course, cold in eastern Oklahoma and even out to the west, really. I mean, it's not as bad the last couple of nights, but it's still pretty toasty. By lunchtime tomorrow, we're warming it into the 20s, and yes, some 30s sneaking in there. Look at that. For the afternoon, it's not a huge warm-up, but it'll be into the 30s, looks like statewide, with some 40s sneaking in out here in the southwestern sector of Oklahoma. So if you've had frozen pipes hopefully, fingers crossed, tomorrow is your day. You can get running water like we did. All right, it's going to cool back down as we head into Wednesday night and Thursday morning. So back down to the 20s. A little bit cold up here in the north. Might be some teens. Remember, it's that kind of first push of some cooler air that moves in late Wednesday. But again, that's not the big deal. So this Thursday, even though it's cold in the morning, it looks like it will moderate quite a bit for the afternoon. Models are struggling how much warm to make it. I liked the upper 30s, the other day. The models are still trying to nudge it back to around 40 here in Oklahoma City, maybe even 50s down here in far southwest Oklahoma. So it'll be a similar day to Wednesday as far as temperatures go, it looks like. And then here comes that big push of colder air that heads us into our way for Friday morning. We'll be down to the teens. We'll talk about that in the weekend here in just a second. Meanwhile, there will be a wind chill still, believe it or not, when those winds pick back up. Even though temperatures are moderating a bit, we'll still have a little bit of cool feeling to the air. So if you are out and about tomorrow, it'll feel like it's into the 20s still across most of the state. And then as we head on into Thursday, wind chill values dipping down to the teens at times, even single digits in the morning. And then by the afternoon, not too bad, actually. Pretty close to air temperatures. Remember, those winds die down briefly before the next front rolls through. And then by Friday, we got those wind chill values coming back in us at negative numbers, looks like here in northeast Oklahoma. So you'll definitely have to keep those winter coats and gloves and everything else handy. All right, so the Canadian model, take a look at that for Friday. Right now, I think it has the best probably estimate for temperatures with the cold air in place that we talked about. It's coming down the Rockies, so it's a pretty good directional path, and we also have the snow on the ground to prevent moderation. So I'm going to go with this for now until I see other models come into the time frame and they start to nudge one way or another. So we'll go for Friday. So we'll be cold. Looks like the afternoon we topped out low 20s here in central Oklahoma. Looks like teens to the north. And then for Saturday, by the way, you can see that cold air pressing all the way down to Texas. So by Saturday morning, that Arctic air is down to the Gulf of Texas and also into Mexico across the border. By Saturday morning, we've got temperatures here in the single digits. Looks like down around 0 along the Kansas border. So Saturday's going to be quite cold. We'll rebound for Saturday afternoon into the 20s. But again, it's a pretty good shot. I mean, it's nothing to sneeze at. So the question is, what about precipitation? Is it still on the table? So let's take a look. We're going to start with the Icon model. It's the first one that came in this evening. The other ones will come in, but they usually take about 10 o'clock before they start to do so. But you can see by the afternoon for Sunday, it does have that look of freezing rain, freezing drizzle here across the eastern third of Oklahoma from Tulsa southward. Then spotty rain showers all the way down to the south. And it will blossom quickly as more moisture comes in. So there's midnight Sunday, and it's got light freezing rain up here to northwest Oklahoma, all the way down to the Red River, and then looks like some heavy or moderate freezing rain across the Dallas-Fort Worth area on into North Texas. By Monday morning, very heavy freezing rain in this section from Dallas-Fort Worth to the north into Missouri, eastern Kansas, and western Arkansas. Now, if you'll notice, the trend has been that I've been showing you these maps to just barely keep Oklahoma City in it. Most of the action is kind of along the I-44 corridor for heavy precipitation. In other words, we may be okay as far as heavy, significant ice accumulations here for Sunday night and the Monday morning. And maybe more of an southeastern Oklahoma event. That's the way things have been looking. So unless that trend shifts to the west, right now, that's the forecast on the table. Now, so we start with ice with the system, right? And I've been telling you, it all depends on how fast we can moderate that Arctic air. Typically, the models will be too fast with it, and it usually takes a little longer. But with a lot of warm air advection, that can be done. And we are supposedly in a pattern where that's going to happen. So that means by lunchtime on Monday, we've already warmed things up above freezing here in North Texas, now down to southeastern quadrant of Oklahoma. So now on the I-40 corridor, and northeast is still where the freezing rain pockets continue on into western Arkansas and up into Missouri. So that would mean we would have about a 6 to 12 hour window of freezing rain from North Texas into the eastern half of Oklahoma. And then by Monday afternoon, the heavy rain's moving out and it's warmed above freezing anyway. It moves on off to Missouri, etc. Some more rain comes in with another system after that, looks like for late Tuesday and Wednesday. So that's the way this latest model indicates things ought to progress. And then so far, that's been the story that I've had for you since Sunday when I saw this pattern unfold. And I'm fine with that for now until we see something else that's going to change my mind. If we look at the National Weather Service, which hadn't said anything about this until recently, today they did put out a graphic which did talk about Monday morning freezing rain. So I know a lot of you always message me, well, no one else is saying this. The TV guys aren't saying this. So-and-so's not saying this. I don't care what people say. When you're going to get wise to that, just listen to what I have to say. You don't need to watch anybody else. So anyway, so National Weather Service has come around, and now they've got the freezing rain probabilities down here for the, like I said, roughly about I-44 corridor for anything significant, and then to the south and also off to the east, with maybe higher probabilities out here in the Ozarks and in western Arkansas. So the good news on all of that, if things go well, it's a short icing window. So temperatures, like I said, over the weekend, cold, teens in the morning for Friday and Saturday. Sunday, we're going to start to moderate upwards. Now, this probably never happened at 37 degrees. If it does, it would have to happen before the precipitation started. I just don't think that's going to do it, but we'll see. I may be wrong. But regardless, when the precipitation starts, that number will cool down anyway. So what will happen is by Monday morning, at some point, late morning to maybe as late as noon, we will get you above freezing the way things are looking in the data. We won't hit 49, but at least it will be a moderating trend back into the upper 30s. And then Tuesday and after that, that's fine. We've kind of run out of Arctic air. This is kind of like the last blast for us for a little while. The pattern is kind of an unsettled one for a little bit of wet pattern here for this period, but not a cold pattern to produce either ice or snow once we get past this little time frame right here. That's the big ticket item. That's going to see what happens with that. So, like to recap, the way things have gone and the way I've kind of explained it, the ice potential is available for North Texas, which does include Dallas-Fort Worth Sunday evening, stretches up into central Oklahoma, eastern Oklahoma during the Sunday evening, Monday morning time frame. So any ice accumulations that you have in that point, whether it be light or heavy, will be on bridges, overpasses, trees, power lines, cars, etc. That means Monday morning commute probably should be pretty nasty. Now, the good news is, like I said, it will take X number of hours, but assuming the warm air advection is strong as it looks to be, and there's enough warm air aloft to transfer down and mix that air mass up, then we should be able to moderate the surface temperatures during the event, which means all that ice, everything melts. So when that ice melts, then that takes away all the pressure off the lines for power outages and roadways and everything else. So it would be an improving situation, so a very mini short-lived ice storm event, which is good news. Now I did tell you I would show you what that looks like in the vertical. We'll use the GFS model. It's the only one long-term I can put up on this type of a chart to show you what it looks like. I'm going to pick Dallas-Fort Worth. Going to give you the idea. So this is this little pink bounded lines, snow growth layer. All right, that's usually how it starts, by the way. And all this little red is omega. So we have a lot of snow developing at this level of the atmosphere between 15 and 20,000 feet that falls down. And we have also additional omega below that value with a lot of humidity, a lot of moisture. So in other words, it's a big rain maker, big precipitation maker. Now, I will put the little cursor down here at, let's see, this is Monday at noon. So let's go like Monday morning. All right, so Monday morning, the graph on the right, and I can't double draw on it because I can't get it to stay up. I wish I could. So you'll have to look at the chart at the bottom, and you should see a little 0, all right, between the red and the green line. That's the freezing point. That's 32 degrees Fahrenheit, 0 degrees Celsius. So those lines, there's a teeny tiny blue line in the middle called the wet bulb. It's way left of that number of 0, which means anything that we get on the rain side will be frozen in Dallas, according to the GFS, according to this profile, for at least a while. So that may be trouble for down there as well. Okay, but if I go to noon on Monday, see there, I didn't even quite make it to noon. I think it was like 10 a.m. See how we go from below 0 to above 0. See that? See the green line jump from to the left to the right? And now you're above 0 or Celsius, so in other words, above 32 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's just cold rain. That's all it is in Dallas. So we do the same thing for Oklahoma City. So again, this is our big moisture pool, all in this area. So we have obviously got cloud cover, everything else that comes in on during the day on Sunday, it builds. And then by Sunday evening, we start to moisten up, and probably get a little precipitation, very light though. But if I do put the little deal on here for Monday morning, You can see we're also left of that 0. Here's still left of 0, still left of 0. And I get to noon on Monday, to it looks like 1 o'clock. We are right at 32 degrees. And then at 2 o'clock, we're above 32. So, for example, here in Oklahoma City, according to this model, we would be below 0 while we get some light precipitation. And it's very light because it looks like it's only about, in this output, 0.6 of an inch. That's just enough to kind of coat everything with a very thin coat of ice. Nothing heavy that would cause any power outages or anything like that. What about Tulsa? Let's take a look at that. Same situation. You got plenty of omega, plenty of moisture, plenty of precipitation forming. And its heavy precipitation starts kind of in the noontime frame, so like around 10 o'clock in the morning onward. So your profile for temperatures in the early morning hours, there you go. They're all left of 0. All right, let me see when do you get above 0? And 1 o'clock. So basically kind of the same thing as Oklahoma City. So according to this, you would have about 3 hours of solid freezing rain, which would accumulate to about 1/4 of an inch of ice. Now, that's just assuming this model had the exact perfect answer of exactly what's going to happen with all these parameters in place. Take it to the bank. That's how that would play out. Now, obviously, when we do get closer to that event, this model is going to move around a little bit. It'll have either higher amounts or lower amounts. The timing may be off by a couple of hours, but that's the general consensus. That's the big picture. That's your take home, is kind of an explanation of what we're doing, what we're talking about. Let's see. So hopefully that was helpful. And we'll find out on Thursday and Friday when the cold front gets here how cold that air is. And that's when the models will go, oh, it's a real Arctic air mass. Okay, well, let's not warm it up so fast. They may do that. Or they may still stay what they're doing now, which is, it's not that thick. It's not that dense. It's not that the depth isn't there. We should be able to erode this pretty good given this warm air advection pattern. And then you kind of have the outcome I just talked about. So that's kind of the way it's going to go. So either way, we're going to get some ice. Whether we get a lot or a little depends on how many hours we have to deal with, and then the way that the warm air advection pattern is setting up. All right, so somebody asked me about wind chills. Mark, you must be late to the party, brother. So wind chill values for Thursday and Friday be gross. Below 0 probably. Let me see. Did I have that map up? Let me go back to that map that I had. We'll just use this one. All right, let me zip on in here to Friday morning. Yeah, so there's your Friday morning wind chill values, negative numbers to -10 to -5 down to 0, all the way down to Texas. And then during the afternoon, of course, it'll rebound a little bit because temperatures will warm some and the winds will die down the hair. So it's going to feel like it's probably around 10 degrees or less across most of the state. And then Saturday, we're again repeating back, the wind chill values below 0. So that's the way that looks. Now, Thursday morning, the front's not in. So therefore, you don't have a big wind chill Thursday morning like that compared to what we've got for the statewide on Friday. So on Thursday morning, for example, there is a little bit of a wind chill here in northwest Oklahoma into the single digits. But here in the metro, 29, 30 degrees. Like I said, that's not bad. So we get a little bit of a break this long before the next front arrives. All right, so let me see if the other models had come in yet on the time. So where are we at? They are, GFS is at 106. It might be far enough to see any significant changes. Yeah, so there's Sunday morning. All right, so it's Sunday morning. So now let's go over here. Now, I don't expect to see any precipitation on here yet, at least for Oklahoma. Down here in South Texas, but not here yet. And Sunday morning, like in Dallas, for example, let me see here. Yeah, dew point of 13, temperature 29, and still moistening up. So yeah, we'll have to wait a couple more hours to see anything that would show up to you on a map. But I can also look at the temperatures. So the GFS suffers from a vertical step resolution issue when we're dealing with Arctic air masses. Sometimes they don't even know that they're there. At least the old model version was horrible. I think they fixed some of it at the best they could, but it still suffers. But anyway, so it's got a temperature on Saturday morning, not nearly as cold as a Canadian. It's got us in the, looks like low mid-20s. So that'll probably be an error, about at least 5 degrees. So I can already see the bias coming in from this one. So you're saying Oklahoma City schools may close again? I don't know. I don't know what the process is for closing school these days. Back in my day, we didn't close schools for temperatures or wind chill. So it is what this is what it was back then. But we're a different era now. We're a different era. Let's leave it at that. So yeah, I don't make those calls, and I have no idea how those are made. No one ever calls me and goes, "Hey, we're thinking about closing school. What do you think? Should we do it?" Nobody asked me. So anyway, all right. So let's see where are we at. Sunday midday. So here in about another not even 5 minutes, maybe 2-3 minutes, we should have a couple more frames in here for the GFS for the afternoon, just to see if the precipitation starts at the 6 p.m. hour here in North Texas and southern Oklahoma, to kind of match the icon model and the timing. Otherwise, I still expect kind of it to say the same story it's been saying. So I don't expect anything different there. Let's see, there's 21 Zulu. So I'm waiting for that. I'll look at the moisture return. At 850. There's that big green run for the border. There it is, right into Oklahoma. So that's right on time. So this is where your cloud cover is going to increase from. So we'll start the day on Sunday, probably with a lot of sunshine, maybe some high clouds. And then as we go through time for the afternoon, we're going to see this big low cloud deck move in. And that's why it's going to be hard to warm things up once that happens. So most of our warming on Sunday would be up through lunchtime. And then that would stop, put the brakes on the warming once that moves in for overcast skies. Let's see. I'll look at this real quick. Yeah, so this is just overall lift in the atmosphere, kind of coming in from the southwest. You can see how it starts up here over Mexico and West Texas. It just keeps kind of moving in a northeastern fashion. That's what we call our southwest flow. So basically it's just areas of lift in the atmosphere that continue to generate cloud cover, and then eventually light precipitation once the atmosphere is saturated enough to come down the surface. All right, looks like we've reached our 6 p.m. time frame. Let's see if it produces rainfall at that point, or if it's going to be a little later. Yeah, there it goes. All right, so there's the there's the 6 p.m. So it does have a little bit of a light echo here in Dallas-Fort Worth, indicating it's saturated enough to start getting some light precipitation. So it's going to call the forecast sounding for this rain. But if you look, temperature of 34, dew point of 12. So the wet bulb would be less than 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So it'd probably be in the upper 20s. So even the GFS, which doesn't know a whole lot, knows enough to indicate that that's probably freezing rain to start the event. So nothing has changed in the data, honestly, since Sunday from what I've seen. I'm not surprised. So I really don't have anything new to tell you. It's kind of like I'm repeating the same thing I told you on the blog that I wrote and then in my lives. And we're going to have to hold with that, probably I said through Thursday. And then when the front gets here Thursday night and we see how cold those temperatures are, like in Nebraska and Kansas Thursday night, and then we'll see exactly how cold that Arctic air mass is. The models will go, oh, okay, that's how cold it is. And then they'll adjust, and then we'll know from there as to whether or not the event that we have will be more significant, or we'll be going, phew, dodged a bullet. So either way. But that's what we got to work with. All right, listen, I'm going to get out of here, get ready for bed. Got to go to work in the morning. Got running water, go take a hot shower. I'm not trying to rub it in. Trust me, 3 days. I'm glad to have it. But I'm going to get out of here. So I appreciate you guys stopping by, liking the video, telling your friends and family about AT's weather, hitting the share button, subscribing to the page. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting on? Do it. Facebook, YouTube, Rumble. And then I'll do more updates off and on throughout the week. Typically, Michael Hendricks, Fox 25 says 40s and no ice. Well, good for them. That's all I heard yesterday. Everybody else saying 40s. No one's saying ice. You guys are hilarious, man. I don't care what they say. Just listen to what I say. No, I don't lead you wrong. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I've never missed an ice storm. Not one. That's a record. I have never missed it. Why? Because I recognize the pattern. So now what we do is we massage it, because we'll tell you, we'll shift around the location and we'll shift around the amounts. That you have to do. But the pattern recognition and the fact we're going to have it, easy call. But that's me. But anyway, so yeah, I don't care what other people say. You guys can post that all you want, but it doesn't mean anything to me. But anyway, so I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a great night, and we will check in with you again tomorrow. And thanks again for your support. I usually do a live at lunchtime sometimes, like around 11:45, and then usually in the evenings right around 9:30. All right, take care, guys. See ya.